Welcome to Say More from Boston Globe Opinion. I'm Shirley Leung. I've lived in Massachusetts for more than 20 years, but I still don't feel like I'm from here. Because, you see, I've never been called a masshole, at least not to my face. A couple months ago, I had a really fun conversation about the word masshole with Globe feature writer Billy Baker and the world-famous Emily Sweeney. I'm so excited to finally share our conversation. When we sat down, they surprised me with the knowledge that they actually went to high school together at Boston Latin. I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. We've known each other since we were like 11 or 12.
We played hockey
serious?
together.
Yeah.
Go Wolfpack, 93.
93.
I asked Billy what inspired him to write about massholes, and we took it from there.
I was driving my kids to school and a text popped up from my friend Nick Haney and it just said, "History of a masshole." And it was on my dashboard. I couldn't open it. And I was like, what? And I knew it was a dare. It was like, you need to look into a history of masshole. And then when I could pull over, I opened it and there was a clip to a segment from Chronicle of a guy giving a tour of a exhibit about the Big Dig at the West End Museum. And as he's giving the tour, he's putting this interchange and he says, "This here is the origin of the word masshole." And I was like, wait, what? The masshole has a Big Dig origin story? Like, how do I not know that? I was a little mad. I'm calling up my friend. I'm like, what? The masshole comes from Big Dig?
I don't know. Billy, I did do some investigation.
Okay. Yes.
And I reached out to Ian Koss, who did that 9-part podcast series about the Big Dig.
Okay.
You know, he spent years researching the history of the Big Dig and how it came about. Not once did the masshole.
Well, you didn't read my newsletter because I then contacted the guy in the clip from Channel 5 and he said, no, that was a joke. And then he said to me, but wait, now you have me wondering where masshole came from. So, so you look at it, entered the Oxford English Dictionary like a decade ago.
Right.
They have its first appearance in print in a book that a British journalist wrote in 1989 about the Dukakis campaign in 1988. And he said he heard it in New Hampshire to refer to people from Massachusetts that moved to New Hampshire. So I was curious about how far back it went, because that puts us at 1988. I remember hearing it for the first time in the mid-90s, but that I also never left Massachusetts until that point.
So Emily, when did you first hear the word masshole?
That's a good question. Probably around the mid-90s as well, just people just throwing it around.
Yeah.
Maybe people... I went to college at Northeastern, and so there were people from all over, Michigan and, on my hockey team. And I think that's probably where I had it first, people saying oh, yeah, effing masshole, or, and then, because Billy, do you remember in high school, we didn't call each other massholes.
I never heard it until I was in college. I went to Tulane, New Orleans, and I met a kid from New Hampshire, and he was like, "Oh, you're a masshole." And I was like, absolutely, but also... what is that word? And so what I was writing about, what I was exploring was kind of this question, because it's so perfect. Did someone come up with it or did everyone come up with it? Was this a spontaneous act in a million traffic jams?
Yeah. Well, I think I believe the New Hampshire story.
Because I'd buy that.
Because readers wrote in and others raised the New Hampshire story.
I mean, every northern New England state tried to take credit for this. Up in Maine, we've been saying that since the 70s. It's shocking the amount of emails I got that just keep going further and further back. I'm back to the 50s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But again, who knows, where it came from.
So, Emily, do you wear, you say you do wear your masshole title with pride.
Yeah.
Why?
We went up to New Hampshire and interviewed people, did man on the street about, what is a masshole? And one of the big things that came up was driving specifically. And a lot of people talked about merging. For some reason, there's something called the zipper merge. I don't even know what that is, but because I'm a masshole. But I always think, and this is how I was, I didn't learn this from my parents, but this is how I think, that if there's an open lane of traffic, you should go in it and go because it helps the overall flow of traffic. That's real masshole thinking there. I accept this. I know
funny.
this.
I was prepared to get on the show and defend you and say, I think you are a masshole, but I don't think you're an a-hole.
Now I'm both.
Well, we talked about this before we came on because the merging thing is true. And I went for years trying to be the militant person. Like, no, I'm just going to stay in this lane and let everyone cut me off. I'm going to play by the rules. But your blood pressure goes through the roof to the point where I was like, no, I'm going to take the 1 second of guilt and cut everyone off rather than sit here for 20 minutes and let them do it to me.
Yeah, no.
So maybe I'm the a-hole.
No, I mean, I just think like it just helps the flow of traffic. Why have an open lane, you know? Like it's just, use it.
And I'll say, I knew I was coming on this podcast, and the other day I was waiting at a light, and there was a no turn on red sign, and the car behind me leaning on the horn and playing at the sign. And then we made the turn after the light turned green, and she pulled up next to me, cigarette dangling from her lips, going, "We go right on red in this state, honey." And I was like, I'm about to appear on a program to talk about what a masshole is. Thank you.
Hey.
And I never got that, like the whole like, oh, you Massachusetts drivers, till you actually leave and go other places, and like they don't lean on the horn if you don't go immediately when the light turns green.
They take turns like merging.
Yeah,
and
like that wave, that polite. No, you go ahead. And it's
I use the wave, but usually when I'm cutting people off.
Yeah. You know what I find myself doing, which is such a masshole thing, where if I'm waiting at a crosswalk and the car doesn't stop, and then a car does, I'm giving the car that does the dirty look that I wanted to give the car that didn't. Do you know what I mean? You're just like, yeah, damn right you stop. Like,
you feel torn.
I did. But they were already gone.
Way ahead of you.
Yeah, so I can't give them the evil eye.
So,
this is the worst conversation ever.
It
Like,
is.
what makes one a masshole? Like, I mean,
well, are there times you want to wear it with pride, though?
I don't even. Here's the weird thing. Like, I don't know that I qualify as a masshole anymore.
I feel like you've graduated. You've moved
how
on. You
so?
moved
So
down
I
south.
had the same accent as Emily, and then
Oh, you did?
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
back in the
I'm
day.
going to say no one has an accent quite like Emily's.
I mean,
When she went viral famous,
Yeah.
Emily was also the girl on the boys hockey team at Latin.
Oh, really?
And the hockey team text chain has fired up.
Oh,
and
wow.
the first things on it, I haven't told you this, were
What?
she's faking it. No one talks like that
are you
anymore.
kidding me?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you know, like I pulled up because I got like, there's a couple comments, people like questioning it, you know, and I asked like my mother and my brother, and I was like, you know what I mean? I'm not doing anything different, right?
Right.
And I pulled up actually old videos that I did and actually like going way back to even when I was 8 years
Okay.
old.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much the same. It's very.
Oh, no, I
yeah.
backed you. I was like, she
Thank
sounds
you,
like
Billy.
a lunatic, but that's
You gotta
her
put me on this
actual
text
accent.
chain.
Because
Oh.
you have a very, in Shelley Murphy as well, where it's like you,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's like a Dorchester Boston accent, but even, you know, I grew up in Southie, which is always, you know, considered like, you know, like that's what the outside world thinks of when they think of this masshole type. And I always thought the Dorchester accent was just a little bit wilder in some way.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, I have friends from Southie, right? Like, I have friend Pam. Like, she doesn't have a wicked accent, actually.
Yeah.
A lot of the Southie kids don't. for some
Hardly anyone
reason.
does anymore. Like, did you ever? So I get asked a lot, like, where my accent went. And the short answer is I went to college in
Yeah.
New Orleans, and I got a little tired of, like, people listening to how I was saying something instead of what I was saying. I mean, like, crowds would form around
Yeah.
me, like, say this, say that.
Speak.
And then it wasn't even conscious. It was just, I just started to talk like everyone else
Yeah.
so that I felt like I could be treated like everyone else. And there's weird, like, shame in that decision. You know, like I abandoned who I was, where I was from. Billy Baker, we know who you are, you know. Jazz, think you're so fancy, right? But I'm wondering if you, like, but you never did.
Yeah, you never
no,
left
I don't.
either, right?
Like, yeah, so I went to school at Northeastern. I went from Boston Latin to Northeastern, you know, and so, and like my family, like my brother, he went to Bridgewater State. He stayed around, lives in Milton now. Like, you know, so I think just staying local. And I do notice, like, when I'm around my family, it comes out more. Like, it depends,
Right.
like,
yeah,
who I'm around.
I can see that.
And, yeah. So, I mean, I don't think anybody, I mean, I'm sure people do try to lose it on purpose, but Billy, you probably would just like, I think by osmosis, you might just
And
lose
it's a
it,
common
you know?
story. I mean, there are so many people who are like, I had one and it just disappeared. But people are very protective of it, and I respect that. Like a dozen years ago, I made this video with my dad that still goes viral every now and again, where there was a class at Boston Casting for all these actors who got roles in the Boston movies, and they were like,
Yeah.
I want to go to Hollywood. And they're
Yeah.
like, well, you can't go talking like that. So it was a class to teach them how to lose their Boston
Oh,
accent.
real?
And the class was like extraordinarily cruel in that they gave everyone a dog training clicker, and you would click it
Oh,
when you
jeez.
said a word. And I mean, the class was
Everyone
just
stop.
click, 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 click.
But you don't hear the accent. The accent is gone, right? I mean, you don't hear
I'm
it,
curious
do you?
about that. So Beth Teitel wrote something about this
Yeah,
recently,
totally.
and when she wrote that, I feel like there's a story to be done trying to find the last kid
Mm.
in the city of Boston that has a Boston accent.
Yeah.
I think you can find it in, like Weymouth or Hanover or something like that. There are some North Shore pockets, but Boston itself has become so gentrified, especially in the neighborhoods we associate with the strong Boston accent.
Yeah.
Charlestown, Southie,
Yep.
Dorchester, right? Like it's transitioned so much. The internet has kind of neutralized everything. And I'm curious if I can go to a playground and find like little Joey with a strong accent. Like if
Yeah.
he still exists, I would
I
bet
bet
it
you
doesn't.
can't. I
Probably
bet, yeah.
not.
No, I
Like,
don't think so.
Years ago, we went to Boston Latin, and Kathleen Rana, one of our classmates, became the assistant headmaster there. And I mean, like 15 years ago, she told me the accent was gone from that building.
Mm.
wow.
And that's where that draws from every corner of the
Yep.
city of Boston.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a kid then that had a Boston accent.
That's weird.
Is it? I also wonder when I think of Boston, it's a lot of Irish. It's a huge Irish population. I mean, is it the Irish brogue and American accent? Is
think
it some
so.
combination of that?
It's a non-rhotic is what the linguistic term for it.
What does that mean?
Not pronouncing an R,
Oh,
which many British, Irish, words are pronounced in a
Right.
non-rhotic way. So it clearly came over here in that way.
mm-hmm.
But like, there's also this like my dad had the strongest Boston accent, and he would always be like, the Pilgrims landed here, so like we're talking right. It's everyone else that's talking wrong.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't think the Pilgrims sounded like you do right now. But yeah, I mean, it's technically a dialect, the Boston dialect, but like it's been studied, it's been analyzed, and the question of where it came from, it seems to lean in that like it came
Yeah.
through working class, I think a lot of the settlers in Boston came from Ireland. They
Yeah.
came from the parts of England that are associated with Ireland, like Liverpool, so they kind of came in mass. And but I don't think you can explain that simply, because it's not like a Southie guy sounds like a British guy, like
Yeah, yeah.
in any way.
So okay, so Billy, you grew up in South Boston.
Yes.
Emily, you grew up in Dorchester.
Yep.
You guys, you still live in Dorchester?
No. I'm out in the sticks now. Yeah.
You moved out, and both of you moved to the suburbs. You're
I
in the
live
North
way
Shore.
up on the North Shore.
North Shore.
Which
Are you
means
South
I
Shore?
lose the
Where are you now?
Boston argument
I'm
now.
like west, like
West.
northwest. Yeah.
Okay.
It's so expensive in the city.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I would
Yeah.
love to live in the city.
So when you think about the Boston that you grew up in, I mean, is that gone?
It's easy to be the old guy that's like, yeah, but I had a moment the other day. I'm writing a silly article about trying to play every golf hole in the city of Boston. There's 36 of them. They're all owned by the city. And I was standing on the 14th green at Franklin Park Golf Course. And from that vantage point, you can see the city skyline. In that view of Franklin Park, plus golfers, plus guys riding scooters in the street. But I was like, Boston is great. It's so many things right here in front of my eyes. And it's like, it's still here. It's definitely still here. It's easy to, you drive through the Seapoint and you're like, what is this, Las Vegas? Like, what do we do down here, right? Everything feels a little gentrified. And, downtown here, we get all the investment banker bros. I just waited behind them all to get a burrito. They all look the same. But like in the neighborhoods, because since I started writing about the Boston accent like 20 years ago, I always get drawn into these conversations, this Masshole thing. And then there'll be like the John Elements of the world, who works with Emily, covers crime. He's like, you go to a courthouse and tell me Boston's gone, right?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
You
right.
listen to the accents
Yeah.
on the court
Yeah.
officers, the people on
Yeah.
trial. Like, you
Yep.
tell me it's gone.
Police
They're
scanner.
still here.
Like,
They're just cops or people arresting the people they arrest,
What do you think, Emily? Do
Yeah.
you think the Boston you grew up, is it gone?
yeah, no, I mean, I think it's gotten a hell of a lot more expensive, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I think it's harder to live in the city,
Yeah.
and especially like raise a family, and everybody knows that, I feel like. And but other than that, like Billy, like you're saying, there's so many aspects of the city that
Yeah.
are the same from when we were in high school, like the good parts.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's so interesting. So I've only been here 25 years.
Where
and
did you come from?
Maryland. So
Maryland.
yeah,
Who comes
Maryland.
from Maryland?
It's so boring. I ask myself that all the time.
Okay.
But I actually think Boston has changed dramatically.
Okay.
Just in 25 years. I mean, it's almost like a different city that I moved to. The seaport wasn't around. It was just parking lots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
it's so expensive. I mean,
Yeah.
even the industry, life sciences, basically there's so much money here, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then that's why income inequality is so high. I feel like it's so different now. You don't see it.
Boston to me always felt like an accident of geography that no one had quite figured out. And then when they figured it out, and I mean that by I grew up in Southie, and that was one of the first places to gentrify. When I was growing up, people were afraid to come to Southie.
Right,
We
right.
had Whitey
Oh.
Bulger, all
Right,
this.
right.
I went to Boston Latin with kids from West Roxbury, and their parents wouldn't let them come to my house, right?
Now it's
Me-
waterfront property.
But
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Meanwhile, I'm like, we're right next to downtown.
Yeah,
We have this
yeah.
neighborhood feel. We have
Yeah.
beaches. We have
Beaches,
huge
mhm.
parks, all this. Yeah, why would anyone want to live here? And then all of a sudden, there were three things that happened in very short order, which is Whitey went on the run, Goodwill Hunting came out,
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
and the first non-Southie bar opened, the
Yeah.
Boston Beer Garden, the first yuppie friendly
And that's
bar.
that's the Boston I
Right.
landed in.
And
you know?
it is so something about that made that neighborhood feel
Yeah.
accessible. I mean, I graduated from college the year Goodwill Hunting came out, and I was the beneficiary of girls showing up looking for Matt Damon.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It was like, it's not here.
Yeah.
But I went to college.
Yeah.
Over here. But something about that demystified these insular neighborhoods. And then to continue the accident of geography, take Dorchester. Again, you can live in a home, in a neighborhood, and right next to the downtown area. Most cities are not like that. They have either a sprawling downtown, or they have a tiny downtown and then just sprawl, like a just ugly sprawl where it takes you an hour to get to the other side of Houston, right? Like there's no such thing in Boston. It's very dense. You can get that neighborhood feel. You can still have a financial services job or whatever it is. And so it just felt like, and I mean, to continue this geography, I mean, you can shoot to Cape Cod. You can go right up to the North Shore. You can go to the Berkshire. We kind of have all the geography you need centered around this old city, and it just clicked for many people. Because for a while, and I know we're lamenting this now, it was a common place for people from elsewhere to go to college and then go right back to wherever they came from. But now I think they're staying here. They're driving up the rents on things, right? They're settling in these formerly family neighborhoods. They're taking over a little bit. Then they have their second kid and they move to Hingham. The cycle repeats.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it makes total sense. In Southie, all they like to do is complain about the yuppies with puppies. But if I look at it from their perspective, can you imagine being a 20-something and living in Southie like you were? It's
awesome.
Nirvana.
Yeah.
It's
Wow,
amazing.
it's like Miami Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they brought in all that sand to M Street
Yeah.
Beach 20
Yeah.
years ago. It was like rocks when I was a kid. The
Yeah.
city brought
Totally.
in $3 million in sand,
Yeah.
and now it's like a fashion shoot.
It
It's
is.
like South Beach. It's
It
wild.
is.
Look at us, the old people. When
Oh,
I was a kid.
I remember before the water was clean in Boston Harbor.
I mean,
right,
that
and-
was also a
and
factor.
we did
Yes,
swim
we
that's
were
right.
grown up,
That's right.
raised not. You're
Yeah.
going to need a tetanus shot if you
Yeah,
go into
yeah.
that
No, yeah.
ocean right now. And
I think it boosted my immune system, honestly.
yeah. I mean, it's still ugly water. I have to say, my mom is selling her house in Southie, so I'm about to
Yeah.
lose all ties to the city, which feels a little weird.
Oh, man.
And they live a block from the ocean. And I
Oh,
was
wow.
with my kid the other day, and I looked at the ocean. I was like, if you asked me if I grew up on the ocean, I would say no.
Pleasure Bay? Yeah.
I mean, it's just not appealing in any way. It's not like inviting. It was a hot day. All these things you think the ocean would be calling to you, and I'm still like, don't go in there.
All right, we've got a special lightning round here.
Okay.
So, all right, what's your Dunkin' order?
Ooh, iced coffee.
Yeah. Large black, either hot or iced.
Yeah.
All right. Which Boston-born celebrity would you be most excited to meet?
Ooh. Steve Carell.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's a good one.
Yeah.
You know, I met the guys from New Edition before, but I would love to hang out with them more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, wow. All right. Yes or
Yeah.
no? Space savers, should they be allowed?
Oh, hell yes.
Let's talk about math for a second, okay?
Oh, boy.
All right.
Here we go.
There are X number of parking spots in the city of Boston. When it snows, there are even fewer. So to have one car taking up 2 spots, essentially, they pull out, they put a cone in, then they go to another spot. How does that make any sense? And Boston people love to be like, oh, we didn't do it. No one would shovel. No one shovels anymore anyway. They have an SUV. They blast out of the spot, put a cone in there. And how does every other city on planet Earth function without space savers? But hey, let me disclaimer, I don't live in the city anymore. I have a driveway. Your problem, not mine.
I think space savers, they have a huge role in the wintertime when we get tons of snow. There's nowhere to put the snow. And like, say you spend like an hour shoveling out a spot. I mean, are you going to drive away and just like that spot that you shoveled, so carefully?
They love this hour-long story. Every time they tell the story, it gets to 2 hours, 3 hours, how long it takes to get a car out of a parking spot.
How much snow there is, it depends.
Hey.
But, I'm space saver all the way. And the more creativity, the better.
All right. So when I first moved to Boston, huge Boston-New York rivalry, Red Sox and Yankees. This is before I think the Red Sox won, started winning World Series. But what I found is that, we really hate New York, but I'm not sure if New York really hates us. I mean, is it embarrassing that we hate New York, but New York doesn't really care about us?
I think I disagree with your characterization.
They hate us when we win.
Sports-wise,
often.
the rivalry is very real. Like city-wise, like how do you compete with the city of 8 million people when we have 500,000 or something like that? So they love to throw that in our face when we are beating them in sports.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the rivalry is it's incredible. Like when did you get to the city?
About 2 decades ago.
Okay, so that like late 90s, early 2000s Red Sox Yankees thing, that was as crazy as crazy gets. Like that was very real.
Yeah.
They weren't little brothering us, which they try to do in this argument over cities, which it's fine. You win. Like we're not competing with that. But like in terms of sports rivalries, I mean, that was nuts. That was legitimately nuts. Let me tell you a fun little story, which I just had to tell the Essex Police Department.
Do tell.
In 1998, when this was really picking up, I tried to get tickets to the second round of the playoffs at Fenway Park.
Okay.
The Yankees were playing someone else in the first round. We were playing someone else in the first round. I really want to go see if they're going to play each other. I can't get tickets, but I got tickets to Yankee Stadium.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so I'm like,
nice.
Everyone and their mother fighting over who's Billy taking to the game. He's got 4 tickets. The Sox are going to win. The Yankees are going to win. Guess what happens? The Red Sox lose. Now I have 4 tickets to a playoff game. Yankees against the Indians. No one wants to go with me. I managed to convince 2 people to drive down to New York.
Yeah.
I have 1 extra ticket.
Yeah.
And so outside the stadium, I sold it at face value to an undercover cop.
Oh.
Who immediately spun me around, put the handcuffs on me, drags me to a city bus.
Oh, no.
On the side of the city bus is a banner that says scalpers. the media is there, and Rudy Giuliani is doing a press conference out front about how they're not going to stand for ticket scalping during the playoffs.
And you were like the poster child?
It was me and like a bunch of dudes in suits all with the same story. Like, hey, we weren't even charged with ticket scalping. It's illegal to transact tickets within 1,500 feet of Yankee Stadium or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Did you
do I hate New York? Yeah.
Did you have to hire a lawyer?
No, I had to go down there and be arraigned in the Bronx.
And you missed the game?
No, I went to the game. That's the best part. My friends had the 3 tickets. They booked us right there, fingerprinted us, kicked us off the bus, and I went to the game. I got arrested before the game. So do I hate New York? Yeah.
As you should.
Rudy Giuliani?
Law and order, Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Any last words about massholes?
Don't email me.
You can email me, guys. Don't worry.
Emily.Sweeney@globe.com.
All right. Emily Sweeney and Billy Baker are writers for the Boston Globe. Thank you for being on Say More.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Shirley.
Thank you, Shirley.
Say More is a production of the Boston Globe. Today's episode was produced by Anna Kusmer. Our editor is Jim Dow. Our engineer is Uzair Ahmed. If you like the show, please follow us and leave a review. You can email us at saymore@globe.com. I'm Shirley Leung. Thanks for listening.